Okay, welcome. I'm Cindy Bensleeker, the creator of Conscious Living Arts, the Vibrant Woman Program, and Inspired Menopause. Welcome to my series, Vibrant Voices. So last year in 2021, I did a series featuring my students, 6 of them. This year, I've been interviewing my fellow businesswomen. And the reason I've done that is because I've discovered that 75% of the women I work with are also business owners. And there's a saying in business that 90% of working on your business is actually working on yourself. So I want these interviews to inspire my students and other women out there and the women in my community and the people in the communities of the women I'm interviewing. So I'm here today with my friend and colleague, Amy Beyer, who is a licensed athletic trainer, licensed massage therapist, an expert myofascial release therapist, and the founder of 2 businesses, Natural Balance Therapy and Revitalized RX. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to be here too. So, Amy and I have been friends for years by association through our husbands. And recently, our friendship has deepened as we both started online businesses to help people experience healing. And this all came about with the onset of COVID. And we've been having a lot of conversations since then. And we both specialize in women's health. And this has made for some really rich conversations during the last 2 years. And I'm so excited to interview you. So, I am a self proclaimed word nerd. And I do believe that words matter. And I love some of the terms you use in your business name, natural balance and revitalized. I think these words will really resonate with the women I serve and other vibrant women. So I'd like to start out by having you tell us a little bit about your healing journey and how it helped form or shape your business. And a lot of women I know experience a transformation because of starting a healing business. Your journey's been a little different, and I'm intrigued by that. So, can you share more with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew in high school that I actually wanted to pursue being an athletic trainer. So my journey actually started in a really traditional setting. So when I graduated from college, I was in a traditional physical therapy setting. I was a really good therapist, but then I'd get really disappointed and frustrated when 3 to 6 months later, my clients would return with same symptoms or similar symptoms. And I really didn't understand why this was happening. And so it was really frustrating for me. But then when I attended my first John Barnes Myofascial Release seminar 20 years ago, everything changed. Something clicked, and it really felt like the fascial system was the missing link with my clients. So when I returned from those seminars, the majority of my treatments were MFR based. And shortly after that, many of the doctors were starting to come up to me and say, "Hey, Amy, what are you doing different? Your clients, they truly are getting better." And so I started talking about the myofascial release approach, and that interaction with the docs really solidified that there was something with this myofascial approach. And that's when I decided to go out on my own. I opened up my manual therapy practice, Natural Balance Therapy, 19 years ago, and it's an MFR clinic located in Southeast Wisconsin. So that clinic is solely based on more of treating men and women, especially those struggling with pain. Majority of them are chronic pain sufferers. Many of them have lost hope. They've tried everything and they just don't know what to do anymore. And they contact us really at their wits' end because they don't know what to do. So through the manual therapy that we do, we really help these individuals to eliminate their pain, and they start to find that balance in their lives, so that they can start to get back to living their life again. And so I love that we not only treat the symptoms, but with myofascial release, we're looking at the entirety of treating the whole body, bringing balance back to that body. So then if we fast forward, you already talked about it, COVID hit. And so once COVID hit, our clinic had to close for a length of time. And we were concerned because our clients are really chronic pain sufferers. And so many of these clients were now desperate because they weren't getting the care that they needed. And so at this point, that self-care piece became pivotal in what needed to happen for their continued progression. And so we started to go live on Facebook. We started to do virtual sessions and telehealth sessions to be able to support and help our clients learn these self-care techniques that they could continue to do at home while our clinic was closed. And it also made me really step back and think, you know, a lot of individuals out there, they're struggling day to day with pain. It's impacting their quality of life, but many of these people don't have access to a skilled MFR therapist. So I knew that something needed to change. And that's where Revitalized RX came in. Revitalize grew during the pandemic to be that clinic or that online virtual therapy clinic where I could start to offer these powerful MFR type work, but more on a self-care basis. And so I'm excited that I'm able to teach and lay this groundwork for my clients to learn myofascial self-care and to provide the support that they need to find freedom in their body, but also to then revitalize their life. Now, for me, you had talked about our own healing. And when I initially started this work, I saw the powerful healings. I saw a lot of people doing their own emotional and their own physical work, but I remember myself saying, I'm fine. I don't have anything wrong with me. Boy, as I dove into this work, I was really wrong with that. As I started to take more of the seminars and I started to get treated on my own, I really realized I was really living in a life of more of autopilot. I was really disconnected from myself, not even realizing it. I was just living, you know, I don't even remember if there was much joy in my life, but I was just living day to day. And so MFR and doing my own healing truly started to allow me to live again. And I'm so grateful that I found MFR because it really allowed me to truly connect with myself again. It allowed me to really realize what empowerment was as a woman. And I learned how to start to honor and respect myself. And those are really powerful things to gain from any type of healing. And, you know, the founder of Myofascial Release, John Barnes, has always told us that you can only take your clients as far as you've gone yourself. And so it's critical for us as therapists to continue our own healing because it not only makes us better people and feel more at peace, more empowered, but it also helps us be better therapists to be able to support our clients because we know what they're going through. So my businesses weren't created because of my own healing, but they definitely have grown because I continue to do my own work and commit to my own healings.
Mm. Wow. There's so much rich, juicy stuff in there. I love what you've been sharing so far. And I've taken a few notes just to kind of hit some of the high points and the parallels I see with yoga. One of the things you talked about was finding yourself on autopilot. And so many of us that go through the yoga teacher training journey come to realize that it's that autopilot that we're on, that we've disconnected with ourselves, and that the parallel there is the journey about reconnecting with yourself and your self-care. That's something that we both have a passion for and have at times been disconnected from in our lives. And the connection, the idea that going online actually does connect us, and to teach people how to use these tools for themselves, how powerful, especially like in areas where people don't have access to those services, but they might have access to the internet.
Absolutely.
So, and I loved what you said about you're helping people get back to living everyday life. And I immediately had some images of the women that I work with. And, you know, they want to be able to travel. They want to be able to get down on the floor and play with their grandkids and run around with them. And it's just those simple things that people want to enjoy. It's great that you can help people find their way back to pain-free living. So I love all of that. And I also checked out your website, and You have a really beautiful website, and it's so clear and easy to navigate. And I hope people will check it out after the interview. And I know near the end of our call, you're going to share a free gift with our listeners and what
Mhm.
you have going on coming up and how they can stay in touch with you. But first, I'd like to note something that captured my attention when I was looking at your website. It was this one line. Um, Revitalized RX takes a whole body approach to
Mhm.
pain-free living. And you and I have talked a lot in our own conversations about what a holistic approach means and how you achieve that as a myofascial release expert. So I'd like to have you share with our audience more about the principles of myofascial that you follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about the principles of myofascial release is many of them truly are and have become for me life principles. And there are four key ones that we talk about in myofascial release. The first one, and one of the most important ones that I've also taken into life, is the concept of never forcing. So MFR is a more gentle approach to treatment, but it is more effective in its results. And an example I love to give about never forcing is I like to ask people, think about the last time that you were forced or pushed to do something. Think about how you responded to that and whether you liked it or not. And I'm guessing for most of us, we don't like it. We resist, we dig in, and we don't want, and there's just tension, there's bracing. Well, the body is exactly the same way. If we push or we force it, it's going to lead to resistance and tension. So a lot of these deeper treatments, whether it be a deep tissue massage or something like that, many times they're blowing past where that resistance barrier is. And so many of these people, all they can do is brace. They never can let go of that tension and relax. So we've found with the myofascial that the body truly responds to a lower load over a longer duration. This is going to give us more change and more long-lasting results. So in life, we find the same thing. When we push, we're going to meet resistance. But when we let go of that need to push, it all just becomes easier. So that's one of my favorite principles about myofascial because it mimics so much with life, but also the principle of being present and mindfully aware. You know, we talked about being disconnected. We talked about being on autopilot, but we can't go through the motions and get the results. We have to, at some point, choose to connect in. And so we teach and help our clients learn how to feel into their bodies. And this is truly where a lot of that deeper healing will occur for them. And in life, again, when we truly connect into our life and do our own healing, that's where we start to find the peace and the joy. And I'm guessing that that goes along with a lot of what you find in yoga as well, Cindy.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Both of these principles that you just talked about, never forcing and being present and mindful, are what I teach in every
Yeah.
class that I or women's circle that I do.
Mhm.
So this is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And another one that is very different from other treatments is our time element. And this is one of the most critical ones in order to get that long-lasting change. And this is why many treatments have failed to get the desired results that people are looking for. So when we combine our time element with the depth of treatment that we're doing, never forcing, this is what creates the environment for that fascia to start to make a change. And in studies, it takes at least 90 seconds for any positive long-lasting change to occur in the tissue. So we do have to hold much longer. So when we're teaching self-care or we're doing techniques on someone, we are doing them for a minimum of 3, upwards of 5+ minutes. So this is really critical to get change and results. And then the fourth one that we usually go through is adding in a concept that we call gentle elongation or active elongation, like a gentle lengthening. When we find that restriction, we add a little bit of length to it. And what this helps to do is to connect into that fascial barrier. This is really important for getting that long-lasting change. And then there's also 2 other ones that I love to incorporate in with my clients. One of them goes along with yoga is we incorporate breathing to assist with their healing. But when many people come in, Many clients are used to a deep belly breathing. So they may learn this in yoga or somewhere else. This is great for gentle relaxation and calming in the body. But what we've found is it isn't as helpful when we're trying to heal. This deep belly breathing actually, as a therapist and when we're doing self-care, actually pushes us out of an area and not helping us engage into an area. So we teach more of techniques that help people feel into the body and engage into those areas that we need them to in order to make change. And this is what helps them get kind of more of a long-lasting change. And then the last one is a concept that I use called listening and honoring. You know, over the years, I have seen such a wide range of clients. Many of them come in with different discomforts, but there's one thing that's consistent with all of them. When they truly commit and start actively participating in their care, that's when they start to really get better. And part of this means listening and honoring the body. So every single day, our body is giving us daily signals. This may be a little bit of discomfort comes on, it may be an ache, it may be a tightness, but it may go away. It may be something like a difficulty in performing a task, or maybe I have to compensate or change how I'm doing something to complete that task. These are signals that the body's giving us, but I always ask, are we listening to these signals? Are we just ignoring them and continuing to go through? And I'm going to say most of us do. These signals can be subtle, so most of us will push through because we just have to get the task done. And when we do that, we've ignored this very important signal that the body's giving us, which is a warning signal that something isn't okay. It's asking our body us to listen to our bodies. And when we don't, it tends to lead to flare up. It tends to lead to injury. So this kind of goes along with that concept of being present and mindful as well. It's really hard to be present when we're rushing about and doing things. We really do want to mindfully slow down, perform tasks, and make sure we're listening to how the body's reacting. And then it also goes with that concept of never forcing. So we teach people how to start to work with their body instead of pushing and forcing their body, which is important with their healing.
Oh, these principles are just so awesome. I love them and I use all of them as well. And it's so interesting to me that, you know, we can be talking about two different expertise, but applying the same principles. And it also reminds me that if people are missing a piece of the puzzle, to try something new, you know, to maybe take it from the myofascial release perspective or the yoga perspective or
Absolutely.
the acupuncture or massage, whatever it might be. And it reminds me of something that the woman that I see for acupuncture and nutrition response therapy, she always says to me, Cindy, put all your oars in the water. And I love that analogy because if we only have one oar in the water, we're just going to spin in circles.
Yeah.
So when we put all of our oars in the water, I think that's where this holistic approach comes in, where, you know, we're treating the whole body and not just one little piece.
Yeah.
So,
And, you know, there's one thing that I always kind of help people to understand is our body, we are kind of like a cocktail, and each of us have different ingredients that make up our cocktail that will work for us. So there's some people that massage, chiropractic, and acupuncture will work beautifully for, but then there are others that won't. And so more of a yoga approach or a myofascial approach or a traditional, doing some traditional medicine approach will work. So it's all about finding that cocktail that will work for you, but knowing also that that cocktail is ever evolving. It can change. And so there are different ingredients that may need to come in that support you at different times in your life.
yeah, that is another great analogy. I'm sure I'm going to be borrowing that.
Go right ahead.
I love it. I love it. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with our communities, or would you like to jump into what you are offering the community right now and how people can work with you?
I guess the one thing that we can definitely share is I want people to know, especially if you're struggling with pain. Um, Last October, I went through my own journey of healing after a hand surgery. And even though I'm a therapist, my recovery was hard. And my recovery hasn't turned out as I've wanted or as I've expected it to. Even though I've had all the tools to do everything that I could for a successful recovery, because I excessively scar down. And so that's been really challenging with my recovery. So what I've learned through that journey is to not give up hope, to keep searching and to keep looking for those things that will work for you. And I've had to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of searching in areas that I typically would not have. So keep supporting, keep reaching out because there is something out there for you. I just don't want people to feel like they've lost hope on everything. There's always something.
Yeah, I so appreciate what you're saying right now, and I'm so resonating with it. I watched you go through your journey of your hand surgery and healing, and I'm also brought back to my own foot surgery a
Mhm.
couple years ago. And
Yeah.
what's resonating is that idea that healing has taken longer than I thought it would. And
Mhm.
also from compensating for so long,
Mhm.
now I have challenges that have showed up in other parts of my body
Mhm.
because of that, that aren't
Yeah.
healing the way I wanted them to.
Yeah.
And your message is just as much encouraging to me not to give up hope as it is to the community out there. And I am in the process of digging deeper, as you mentioned, and
Yeah.
looking into, what is my body trying to tell me right now? And sometimes our body is a messenger. That pain is a
Mhm.
messenger for something that we have to look at more deeply in our lives. And I'm in the
Yeah.
process of doing that right now. So I really appreciate that you bring that idea up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and piggybacking off of that too is majority of the time that we have this physical component, there is also usually an emotional component. And so you can't separate them. There is a mind, body, spirit connection. And so working on all entities of that is critical. And if we don't choose to work on that emotional part, we are only going to get limited change. And that's a piece that's been very important for me through my healing because going under into surgery, it was a very negative experience and I didn't feel safe. And so I'm still healing from the emotion and the insecurities and the lack of safety and vulnerability through that journey. And so there's a lot of healing on deep levels, typically when we're dealing with chronic pain.
Yeah, wow. Mm. Yeah, that's unfortunate that you didn't
Yeah.
feel safe going into your surgery. That that I think happens more often than we realize.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that you bring that up because that might be a light bulb for somebody when
Mhm.
they hear this interview. I
Yeah.
think it's really important.
Yeah.
So thank you, Amy. And I think now is a good time to tell us, what you're working on. I think you have some classes that you're working on, and I'd love to hear more about those. And anything else you want to share about what you're working on and how people can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting back in October, I'm going to be starting up my what I call my MFR Revive classes. And these are classes that integrate myofascial self-care along with breathing and mind-body awareness. And what I love about them is many of the techniques that we do are actually based on yin and restorative yoga poses. So I believe that Cindy's going to be sharing a link if anyone is interested that you can sign up for notifications. So when I start offering those classes that they will be available for individuals to take. And then I always love to connect with people. So if someone is struggling with pain, they have questions or anything like that, I would love to set up a time to just have a conversation. And I offer free, no obligation, 30-minute introductory calls where we can just talk about kind of what's going on, what you're struggling with. I can answer any questions that you have and maybe talk about services or things that may be of assistance to you. And so I think Cindy's going to share a link for that as well, that if anyone is interested in just having a conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'd love to have a talk with you.
Awesome. Those are great resources and ways to stay in touch with you. And I did put those links in the chat in case there's anybody viewing this who will have access to the chat. And then I always put them as a caption on the YouTube video, and in any follow-up emails or Facebook, I will also put your links there. And I want to take your class, Amy. That sounds,
oh boy,
sounds great. It sounds great. So I also know that you have a class called Inner Awareness. Did you want to say some more about that?
Yeah, soon I'm going to be launching my Inner Awareness course, and this will be a powerful and interactive course where I'm going to start to help people develop the key foundational knowledge that they need for long-lasting pain relief, a lot of the same things that we were talking about today. And I also start to help people understand those body signals and how to start to listen to them. We also go through key techniques that you can use from the comforts of your home to minimize pain and discomfort. And lastly, we teach techniques to help you learn how to start to quiet your mind and find that sense of peace and calm. This truly is a must for anyone who is struggling with pain, especially those individuals who just have tried everything and haven't gotten the results that they're looking for. Pain doesn't need to limit our life. And it's really time that we start addressing these root causes instead of just treating those symptoms. Treating the symptoms will give us short-term relief. Usually where the cause is not where the symptoms present for people. So I want to help people start living life again, and this is one of the ways that we can do that.
This is all great, and you have so many wonderful options for people. They can just simply follow you and stay in touch with you. You've got a couple different classes that they could participate in, and they could just come and talk to you if they wanted to find out what's the best fit for them within your program.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Well, I so appreciate our time together today. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience? I think you said that you had a free gift as well.
I do. You know, I've met so many people over the years that their pain has limited them from being able to travel and do things with their family. So I've actually created a free ebook that will include travel tips, rest stop stretches, as well as myofascial techniques that can be done right from the car. So you can start to help find relief so you can go out on those travels and enjoy family time. So I think Cindy's going to share the link that anyone that is interested in getting that free travel ebook, you can go ahead and just click the link and it will be sent to you in the email.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so I am going to share those links and I'll be sharing this interview with my community, and I'm sure you'll be sharing it with your community. And as you know, I work with women mostly going through perimenopause and menopause. And so from your experience and expertise, what's the most important insight or thought that you could leave with midlife women today?
You know, what I've seen over the years is women tend to give everything of themselves. They tend to really have a hard time saying no and just keep doing everything. But they have a hard time accepting or doing anything for themselves. So if I can leave one thing, it's self-care is not a selfish thing. If we are depleted, if we are running ragged, we can't be there in full capacity to help others. So taking time each and every day to do even just one thing for ourselves. That could be taking time just to decompress. It could be going out and standing in the grass and feeling yourself ground into the earth. It could be going out to be with the trees, maybe exercising or doing something that revitalizes you. But just taking and doing one thing each day that brings you some form of joy is going to be really important. And then also we have to start really noticing what we're doing and how our body's responding before it is too late. So hearing those body signals and starting to listen and honor them is critical, because we only have one body. So let's go ahead and we need to take care of it.
Hmm. I love that. And I love the possibilities that you've given women and people listening to this, just that take just a couple of minutes. I like to call
Yeah.
those bits of self-care,
Mhm.
and they're so important. And I also see like what you were saying was giving me chills, because that's all, those are the same things I've seen in the women that I've worked with
Mhm.
for over 20 years now, is this constant habit of putting themselves on the
Yeah.
back burner, which then somersaults into scarcity thinking. And
Mhm.
the beautiful thing about what you do and what I do, myofascial release, restorative yoga,
Mhm.
is it's a lot about receiving. And I'm a firm believer that even short periods of allowing yourself to receive, it then starts to diminish that scarcity thinking,
Yeah.
and it builds into a mindset of abundance.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a great place to close, because this has been such an abundant conversation, and it's so rich with insight and learning. And I love talking with you, because every time we have a conversation, I walk away with having learned something new. And I so appreciate that. And I appreciate you, Amy. Thank you so much for sharing your time and yourself with us today.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And I love everything that you do and everything that you give and support with women. It's something that is so beautiful and so needed. You teach women how to take care of themselves, which is critical.
Thank you. And you do too. So, thank you
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. And I hope you'll visit Amy's website and check out her free gift and all of the other great resources out there for you. Bye bye for now.
Bye.